He's so stupid. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of in order to get a rise out of us. I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
What if I told you Robert De Niro just did what no politician had the guts to do? He exposed Donald Trump's dirty secrets and humiliated Melania on live TV. This wasn't just a celebrity outburst. This was a carefully planned destruction of Trump's public image. From calling him a clown to questioning his manhood, De Niro didn't hold back. And what followed next left Trump's team in total chaos. People in the audience were stunned. Melania's reaction? Chilling. Trump's meltdown? Recorded. If you think this ends with a few insults, think again. This might end Trump for good. If you're shocked already, just wait. It's about to get even more intense. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of this unfolding drama. And like the video if you think it's time someone finally said it like it is.
He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so. What I care about is the direction of this country. And what I'm very, very worried about is that it might go in the wrong direction with someone like Donald Trump.
Do you think our democracy is at risk in this election?
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course, but democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period.
Trump's response: predictable, explosive, fragile, petty. He didn't just tweet. He went on a multi-day meltdown, calling De Niro a washed-up actor, a low IQ individual, and worse. But that's the Trump formula, isn't it? Attack, distract, play victim. Every time someone with power calls out his corruption, his lies, or his recklessness, he melts into a puddle of projection. But this time, it didn't work because De Niro didn't back down. He doubled down. He dared Trump to come at him, and that's what changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't about a celebrity feud. It was about a president being exposed by someone too rich, too famous, and too powerful to silence. Trump couldn't sue him, couldn't blacklist him, couldn't threaten him into silence.
They have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. He got maggot. He got maggot yesterday. He got a big dose of it. But I just want to say it's a very unfair trial. It should have never happened.
And what De Niro exposed is what the world had been whispering for years, that Donald Trump isn't just a con man. He's a clear and present danger to American democracy. De Niro said it out loud. This guy doesn't pay his taxes, doesn't read his briefings, doesn't care about the American people. And here's the kicker. He's not wrong. From refusing to release his tax returns to coddling dictators while alienating allies, Trump has weaponized ignorance and narcissism as political tools. De Niro wasn't ranting. He was documenting a pattern of betrayal, live, raw, unfiltered, and in that moment, something terrifying crystallized. If Trump returns to power, he won't just repeat his old mistakes, he'll double down with vengeance.
We're in a very bad situation. I remember you and I about 5-6 years ago talking. I'm down at the Spring Studios, something about, I said, what just happened just happened. No, it didn't happen. It's all about truth. And what we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane, and I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are. It's insane. So that's why I felt I had to do something, say something about it, to go on record.
Let's not forget, De Niro wasn't speaking from a script. This wasn't a performance. It was a warning shot. This man, who has worked with every major American director, who's won Academy Awards, who's been invited into the White House under better presidents, looked directly into the camera and said, "Trump is a pig, a mutt, a fraud." And for once, those words weren't just insults. They were echoed by fact. Because when a man refuses to denounce Nazis, mocks disabled reporters, and turns a global pandemic into to a PR stunt, what else would you call him? De Niro said what journalists wouldn't, what politicians were too afraid to. He stepped in where Congress stayed silent, and millions felt the truth in his words.
This might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk, and then he says, at the end, he says, "Wake up, Punchy," he says to you. And that's not the only time, and he moved over to Truth Social. Robert De Niro, whose acting talents have greatly diminished with his reputation now shot, must even use a teleprompter for his foul and disgusting language. So disrespectful to our country. Now, in all fairness to the former president, is that true? Do you have to use a teleprompter when speaking about President Trump? Or are you able to just kind of riff on your thoughts on him?
Now ask yourself, why was Trump so rattled? Why did one actor's speech send the former president into a rage spiral? Because De Niro represents what Trump fears most: uncancelable truth. Trump has built his empire on fear, on silencing whistleblowers, firing critics, suing the press, and turning every attack into a loyalty test. But with De Niro, none of that worked. He couldn't fire him, couldn't cancel his career, couldn't control the narrative. That's why it stung so deeply, because for once, Trump's armor cracked, and behind it, the world saw exactly what De Niro described: a scared, small, insecure man with too much power and no moral compass. And that image, it spread like wildfire. No propaganda machine could undo it.
His former chief of staff, General Kelly, reminded us that Trump admires Hitler and ridicules our American troops who died for us. He mumbles, he stumbles, and blubbers on, exhibiting clear signs of dementia. He promoted the Project 2025 agenda. That's all in 1 week. All in 1 week. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has plans, real plans, not concepts of plans. She's got a plan to help workers and the middle class with an opportunity economy. She'll lower their taxes. Trump will raise them. He says it all the time. You're going to raise them. For his rich friends. A plan to be the president for all Americans. It seems like a clear choice, right? Election day is upon us. We can't let up now. It's time to make one final push and elect Vice President Harris and Democrats up and down the ballot.
You see, De Niro's words didn't just hurt Trump, they unmasked him. He stripped away the gold-plated image, the flags, the rallies, the crowd chants, and showed us the man behind the myth, an insecure showman clinging to relevance, hiding behind slogans. And once that illusion cracked, people started asking, wait, is this who we really trusted with the nuclear codes? For years, Trump bullied his way through criticism, treating politics like a business deal. Lie, cheat, win. But De Niro didn't play by those rules. He didn't debate, he detonated, and in doing so, he reignited a national conversation we've been too afraid to have. What if everything Trump touches turns rotten? Not by accident, but by design.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. But we vowed we would not allow terrorists. I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself. He was calling it as himself for himself, to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns. We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city, it's part of the culture, but not
a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that. Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own. But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course. But around the country, people who didn't know him, as we did, started to support him. They bought into his bullshit. Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises. He got the most religious evangelicals to applaud a sinner who bragged about sexual assault, and who, just a couple of blocks from here, a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. Somehow, he even got self-styled patriots to support a man who called for terminating the Constitution, and on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad, because it shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed.
Even Trump's supporters, the diehard loyalists, felt something shift. This wasn't CNN talking. This wasn't MSNBC, the fake news media he always targets. This was a voice from American culture itself, someone they'd watched for decades, someone whose films are iconic across political lines. And yet, there he was, calling Trump a disgrace to the office, a cancer on the Constitution. That kind of language doesn't come lightly. But what's more damning, the evidence backs it up. We're talking about a man who tried to overturn an election, who praised the January 6th rioters as patriots, who threw Mike Pence under the bus and then called it leadership. De Niro just connected the dots the public was too numb to trace.
America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable. And this isn't just an American problem, it's a global one. Unlike a film, we can't just sit back and watch. We have to act, and we have to act now. Without violence, but with great passion and determination.
Let's pause on that for a second. The January 6th attack, De Niro didn't tiptoe around it. He called Trump out as the root cause, plain and simple, and he is not alone. Judges, prosecutors, and investigators have all circled the same truth. Donald Trump incited an insurrection, period. While his followers stormed the Capitol, waving flags and smashing windows, he sat back, watched TV, and did nothing. And that silence, that's complicity. De Niro saying it live, unscripted, felt like a thunderclap because it made America confront what it's been avoiding. This wasn't political theater. This was attempted tyranny. And yet somehow Trump's walking around giving speeches, fundraising, promising revenge in 2024.
A paid sellout for the DNC. A paid sellout to the DNC. Robert De Niro. A paid sellout. A paid sellout. A paid sellout for the DNC. A paid sellout to the DNC. Robert De Niro. A paid sellout. A paid sellout. DNC. Robert De Niro. A paid.
But De Niro's takedown went even deeper. He didn't just attack Trump's politics. He exposed his lack of character. He talked about Trump mocking the military, disrespecting veterans, and using the presidency like a personal ATM. And again, he wasn't making wild claims. He was pulling from real headlines. Remember Trump calling John McCain a loser because he got captured? Remember how he dodged the draft 5 times with fake bone spur claims? De Niro remembered, and he refused to let us forget. He showed us that this wasn't about policy differences. It was about basic human decency. And in that moment, the entire conversation changed from should Trump run again to how did this man ever run in the first place?
When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke.
this buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. And now he's promising to use our own military to attack U.S. citizens. That's the tyrant he's telling us he'll be. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. You're not going to intimidate. That's what Trump does, to try to intimidate. We are going to fight back. We're trying to do it a little tough. We're trying to be gentlemen in this world, the Democrats. You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
And here's where things get truly dangerous. Trump knows he's losing the cultural war. The more artists, veterans, journalists, and even ex-staff speak out, the more cornered he becomes. So what does he do? He escalates. He labels the press enemies of the people. He threatens judges, mocks jurors, and says he'll jail his opponents. That's not freedom, that's authoritarianism. De Niro saw the writing on the wall, and he said the quiet part out loud. If Trump wins again, democracy might not survive. That's not drama, that's history screaming at us in real time. And if we don't listen, if we don't pay attention to voices like De Niro's, then the next time Trump breaks something, it won't just be a norm. It might be the Constitution.
We understand that this is a political persecution. That was evidenced today by the Biden campaign themselves holding a rally here. They bring in Robert De Niro, who was shot down, but apparently he needs attention because it's been a while since he's cranked out a good movie.
Let's talk about Melania, the invisible pillar of Trump's public image. Throughout all this, where has she been? Silent, distant, missing from courtrooms, absent from rallies, nowhere in campaign photos, and when De Niro scorched Trump on live TV, she didn't issue a single word of defense. That's silence. That's louder than any speech, because here's the truth. No one in Trump's camp wants to admit even Melania is checked out. She knows the empire's crumbling, the marriage has become a PR contract, and the last thing she wants is to be dragged into another 4 years of chaos, lawsuits, and public shame. Her absence has become the most powerful statement in this political collapse. Even his own wife won't stand beside him anymore.
In my country, we're fighting like hell for the democracy we once took for granted. And that affects all of us. That affects all of us here because the arts are democratic. Art is inclusive. It brings people together. Like tonight, art looks for truth. Art embraces diversity. And that's why art is a threat. That's why we are a threat to autocrats and fascists. America's Philistine president has had himself appointed head of one of our premier cultural institutions. He has cut funding and support to the arts, humanities, and education. And now he has announced a 100% tariff on films produced outside the U.S. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't put a price on creativity, but apparently you can put a tariff on it. Of course, this is unacceptable. All these attacks are unacceptable. And this isn't just an American problem, it's a global one. Unlike a film, we can't just sit back and watch. We have to act, and we have to act now. Without violence, but with great passion and determination. It's time for everyone who cares about liberty to organize, to protest, and when there are elections, of course, to vote. Vote. Tonight and for the next 11 days, we show our strength and commitment by celebrating art in this glorious festival. Liberté, égalité, fraternité.
Trump knows it. Behind the forced smiles and choreographed handshakes, he's unraveling. De Niro's takedown wasn't just a hit, it struck a personal nerve. Trump doesn't handle ridicule well. He never has. He's obsessed with loyalty and image control. So when someone like De Niro, an icon, a man of substance, called him a wannabe dictator, Trump spiraled. Behind the scenes, sources say he was furious, pacing, lashing out at aides. He posted rage-fueled rants online, demanded loyalty oaths from staff, even tried to spin it as proof of a media witch hunt. But deep down, he knew the punch landed, and no amount of tweeting can undo the power of a truth that's now viral.
I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
And here's the scariest part. Trump doesn't respond with reason. He responds with revenge. Every time he feels cornered, he lashes out against immigrants, against women, against journalists, and now against democracy itself. He's calling for mass deportations, floating plans to weaponize the DOJ, promising retribution against opponents if re-elected. This isn't politics, it's a vendetta. And De Niro's monologue wasn't just a rant, it was a warning shot. He's seen this movie before. A delusional strongman drunk on power, turning followers into cultists and law into theater. De Niro's message was simple. This isn't about left versus right. It's about right versus wrong. It's Trump. He's already chosen the wrong side. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more honest takes. You won't want to miss what's coming next.